Autoweb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Autoweb.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, the president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. And yo, listen, podcast people, we just broke 20,000 members. Okay, and because this is a private group, that's like having 250,000 members. Like that's a public group, man. It is really powerful. So I'm really honored to have this guy on our show right now, Mr. Charlie Kearns from New Jersey. What's up, Charlie Kearns?
How you doing, Sean? You're looking great. I'll tell you that much.
You know why, right? That's that Belizean, baby. I got that Belizean in me. But you're looking pretty handsome yourself, man. For somebody that's been in the industry for, 39 years, Charlie?
39.
All right, so damn. So 39 years. Right?
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's been 39 years, honestly, or does it feel like it's been a blink?
Well, you know something, when I first started, we used to have to crank them up. So to start them. So starting is a whole lot easier, with the push button. So that's all good.
Nah, but
the first new car I ever sold.
Yeah, what was it?
It was a leftover 1981 Toyota Starlet with a standard shift transmission, but it had a clutch. And probably a lot of people didn't even know what a clutch is, but it actually had a clutch when you started it.
So Charlie, damn, almost 40 years ago, when you sold cars, what was the most amount of cars you sold in a month?
42. 42.
Okay, so you sold 42 cars in a month, and we met at Weissler Inc. Mercury Mazda. So people, this is my my guru. This is the guy that taught Sean V. Bradley some of the things that I know, the most important things, like a lot of closing stuff. But man, I worked at Weissler. Do you know how long ago that was? That was 22 years ago. I worked at Weissler, brother.
Wow, that's a long time, huh?
Yeah, can you believe that 22 years went that by, man?
Like, yeah, we're still boys though.
Yeah, absolutely. You're very close after, 22 years, man. But I still to this day, Charlie, every time I talk to you, I say this, and you know how many people I've personally trained about 150,000 automotive professionals at this point, minimum, and 3,500 rooftops in 4 countries. And I have a phone call later on today with a Panamanian dealer group in Panama. So I still say that you are one of the best closers that I've ever met. And that's in going on 5 countries, bro.
Well, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Nah. So some questions, because I've interviewed before on the internet, but never on the podcast. Let's go with this a little bit differently. What would you say influenced you when you were selling cars or learning the game? How did you learn? Who did you learn from? Who is your Charlie Kearns?
There was a guy that worked the desk at Gateway Toyota back in 1982. And his name was Walter Ertl. A lot of people in this neck of the woods here probably know who he is. And
Walter what?
Walter Ertl.
Walter Ertl.
I don't think he's in the car business anymore. But that being said, I mean, this guy was just dynamite. And, no meant yes to him. And, I just sat in and watched him, and he mentored me. And I just did everything like him. Like he used to have his right knee going like, boop, 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 boop. I started doing that. Like I mimicked what he did. And luckily our selling styles were similar, aggressive. And, I just took off from there, and it was a great learning experience.
Okay. Did you go through any training? Did you follow like Jackie B. Cooper or Zig Ziglar, or any of those trainers back in the day? Or is it just like self-taught or just from your influence at the dealership level?
Well, over the years, and specifically when I was younger, we had there were 3 really. There was it Mike McGuire? No, Joe McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, the other guy, Joe Girard.
Joe Girard, yeah.
Joe Girard, and Jackie Cooper.
And Jackie Cooper, yeah.
And one thing I always remember, I was doing some training, and I did a stint in Lauderdale for a bit, and they had this Jackie Cooper training session on, and it was about selling a demo, but it wasn't he didn't call it a demo. He called it an evaluation car. And if you were Ford and you built a car to be evaluated, what's the one thing you'd want it to be? Perfect, right? See how this car shines just a little bit better than that one over there? See the stitching is just a little bit tighter in the interior. You know, this is an evaluation car. And I'm not saying that it's for sale because the last one went 3,000-4,000 over the list, but it was great. And I remember that to this day. And this had to be 35 years ago. And I still use that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I did it at Weisleder.
I remember.
Doing it
Yeah.
there.
So you know what, Charlie, I think that it's important to talk about lineage. You know that I've been training in martial arts for a long time. I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and in jiu-jitsu, you know, Helio Gracie is the grandmaster that invented Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's like lineage. You know what I mean? Like it's like the Bible, Jessup begot Joseph type stuff. And it goes Helio, then it goes Helson Gracie. Under Helson, it goes Phil and Ricardo Miglioris, and then your boy SVB. You know, not that I'm important at all, but what I'm saying is like you could trace back where you learn stuff from. And I think that it's also important for like really superb automotive professionals, the art of selling, you know what I mean? Like not shyster stuff, but I'm talking about really perfecting the art of sales. Like you, to me, personify car guy, you know what I mean? Or automotive professionals, not gender specific or anything like that. And I think it's important. Why I'm excited to do this interview is because I want people to know who influenced SVB. And then I want to know who influenced the man that influenced SVB. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how far back the lineage goes. Because if it was me and I liked Sean Bradley at Dealer Synergy, I'm like, who's this Charlie Kearns cat? Who's this guy that Sean's talking about? Okay, who's this guy Jackie Cooper? And what's a shame is that Jackie Cooper and Joe Girard, these were like rock stars back then before my time.
Oh, yeah.
And what's crazy is so many people, some of these young kids, like my daughter is 20 years old and she's at Charlie. I got to even tell you about Kalina because you remember she was a baby in your dealership?
Yeah.
She's working at Weisleder on their second month on the floor. She cracked 20 units, bro. She's 20.
Working at Weisleder?
I'm sorry, not Weisleder. RK. I'm thinking of you. Thank you. What Weisleder? No, she's working at RK in Vineland and Chevy, Kia, Subaru. But she's at the Kia Subaru building, and on the first month on the floor, I think she did like 15 cars. Second month on the floor, she cracked 20. But she's grossing like crazy.
Nice.
And my nephew, I just posted in our group, he's working at my other daughter, Tiana, her old dealership, Patriot Buick GMC. He just made $12,000. This is a 20-year-old kid who was making $12 an hour at the bank, right? He was working at the bank, $12 an hour as a teller, and he was scared to get into the automotive industry. And he said, Uncle Sean, I just made almost $12,500 last month on the floor. And my point is that these guys, like my daughter, my nephew, and all these 19, 20, 22-year-old kids, they have no idea who Jackie Cooper is. They have no idea who Joe Girard is. And I think it's important because a lot of the stuff that happened back then is still the foundational elements of today. Would you agree with that, Charlie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the wheel hasn't been reinvented. I mean, and to me, selling cars is simple. I mean, if they like you, you qualify them right and they can afford it and they like the automobile, give me one reason why they're not going to buy it. There is none. There's absolutely no reason. So, I mean, that's as hard as it is. You got to qualify them. You got to make sure they like you, they like the automobile, and the rest is easy.
Well, let's talk about that because NADA says that's the number one reason why people don't buy cars. NADA says the number one reason why people don't buy cars is not price, it's not reputation, it's because they're landed on the wrong car, too little car, too much car, etc. So from a 39-year veteran, what's the proper way to qualify and up? So let's do this because you're great at it. So if I walked into, and you're at Sanso Nissan, right? What's the name of the store?
Windsor Nissan.
You're at Windsor Nissan and you're the
Sanso
GSM.
Junior's Windsor Nissan.
Yo, shout out to Paul Jr., Paul Jr. and Windsor Nissan, but he made the right. I bet she's liking that decision he made when you came on board.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
Nah, yeah, Paul's good people. So
yes.
Let's say I walked into your Nissan store and you were the salesperson, right? Or how would you?
No, I'd be the salesperson. And you come in and let's say you're looking for an Altima. Sean, how you doing? Did you want to pay cash finance or take advantage of the lease?
I'm not really sure yet.
Okay. Well, when you say that, it's not like, and I'm not going to be sure. It's either you're going to pay cash, you're going to finance, you're going to take advantage of the lease.
Okay,
so good. Pick one of them.
Okay, good. See, I'm not making this easy on purpose. You're a pro. Okay, right. So let's just say I want to.
Well, look. Let me say this. I've been doing this a long. That line is 99% perfect.
All right, good. So repeat that, because what I want to remember, this is a podcast. So people are going to be listening to this, and I want them to have the real authenticity, because there's so much fake shit out there, Charles,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you're real as it gets. So what you just said is a big nugget. When you ask that question, ask that qualifying question again. Are you going to?
So you're going to pay cash, finance, or take advantage of the lease?
Okay. And so in your opinion, you believe that 99% of people, or high 90% of people, are going to absolutely have one of those thoughts in mind.
Yep. Now, most people, obviously now on a new car, they're going to say lease. If they say finance and lease, I know one thing. These people are payment buyers. Okay. So I absolutely know that they're payment buyers. So if they say finance or lease, I'm taking finance right out of the equation, because obviously that's going to be a higher payment. So I'm going to be working towards the lease. So now, and this is where some people make it hard, and it's so easy. Let's say you were going to say lease or finance. Just use that scenario.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, Tim Cox from CarNow, and we would love the privilege and honor to be able to partner with you, our dealer partner, and show you why we continue to be the most awarded communication and digital retailing platform in automotive. What's the buzz about? We'd love to show you why. Please click the link below and let's partner together.
Finance.
All right. So, and as far as money's down, showing 5,000-6,000, that works.
Whoa, that's a lot. That sounds like a lot to me, Charlie.
Okay, what does?
I could probably put about $1,000 down.
Okay, and tax and tags, you'd be able to do that.
That's the bump. I was hoping to put just $1,000 total out of pocket.
All right, as far as the payment, $650, that's in your budget.
Oh, that seems a little high.
Okay.
I was thinking more about like 400.
Okay, but do you see when I throw a number out there, that's a yes or no question. So you're either going to say yes, 650 is good, or no, 650 is bad. And when I come back and say what is, you're going to tell me.
So you think that people overcomplicate it, and I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if we go like this, nice to meet you, Sean. You're here for an Ultimate. Did you want to pay cash, finance, or take advantage of the lease?
Well, Charles, let's go through this here. Like, would you really just jump right into it without, like, walking me to the desk, like to my personal, like let's play the scenario out. I walked into your dealership, and what are you really going to just jump into that question right from there, or do you pace a little bit?
No. What I'm going to do is, as I'm walking you to sit you down, I'm going to be just shooting the breeze. But this whole qualification takes less than 60 seconds.
Okay.
So this isn't a grilling. You follow what I'm saying? It's real easy, quick, to the point, and now you know which way to go. So if somebody comes in and they have their they want the platinum Rogue, which is $44,000, and they got $1,000 down and want to be at $300 a month, and I put them in that car. When I got to take them out and put them into the mooch one, that's not going to work. Once you see that, to go to that isn't going to happen.
Right. So
if you put them in the right car to begin with, whatever they're driving, this is going to be nicer because it's brand new.
Right.
So, you got to keep that in mind. And once you put somebody in too much car, that's an uphill battle. Very rarely are you able to take them out and put them in the right car.
All right, good. So to recap again, so you up me, say the line again.
So do you want to pay cash? Did you want to pay cash, finance, or take advantage of the lease? And that's a simple, that's not threatening. Right?
No, not at all. No. I agree.
No.
So I'm going to say finance. Charlie, I think I want to finance this vehicle.
Great. And as far as money's down, 5,000-6,000, that works?
Whoa, that sounds a little high, Charlie.
Okay, what does?
I was thinking about $1,000 down.
Okay. And as far as the payment, $650-$700, that's in your budget?
That sounds a little high too.
Okay. Comfortably where you're trying to stay, Sean?
About $400 a month.
Okay. So now I know that I could put you in a $20,000 car and be right around it. So now I got to sell you on a $20,000 car. Now, a brand new Altima, that may not work, but I got a 19 with 12,000 miles. That may work.
Okay, good. Now, once you go from the qualification stage, so if I'm dissecting this, when you're qualifying, you're trying to get to this scenario as quickly as possible. Again, is it cash, lease, finance? Boom, that gives you, and the nugget you said before, which I love, is that if they say finance or lease, boom, this is a payment buyer.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to isolate the payment. So the
And
next
what they're saying is whatever's lower, that's what I'm doing.
whatever's okay.
Whatever's less.
So Charlie, here because this is a national or actually international podcast. In the Northeast, which is where you're based out of in New Jersey, you're a little spoiled because it's like a 70-80% lease penetration. Some of those there, but down south, which down south, these people don't lease cars worth of shit. Like these people are leasing 20%. I got people in the single digits for the lease penetration, and so I know what you're going to say, but talk to the rest of the country. If you're not leasing and not giving real leasing like options to prospects, don't you think that's a silly thing in this day and age?
Well, here's when I pencil a deal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 scenarios, and we use Drive Centric, but I mean Vin, and they all have penciling tools. So what I do is I give people 3 scenarios on a purchase, 3 scenarios on a lease, and then you pick out the payment you want to try to, well, you want to be 400, but the purchase is 6 and the lease is 380. How about the lease to own?
Right.
You can always buy it at the end of the term.
Right. Okay. So then why do you think that with your tremendous experience in the industry, why do you think that salespeople and even sales managers overcomplicate the qualification process?
That's it in a nutshell right there. I mean, you're making cars selling harder than it should be because to be honest with you, again, if they're qualified right, they like the car, they're comfortable with you, and they're comfortable in the dealership, there's no way they're going to say no. And the thing is, and right after I qualify somebody, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them outside, and I call it the show because they're paying a lot of money to see it. So when you do your walk around, A, you got to have complete control, and B, you got to make it interesting, or nobody's going to want to listen to what you're saying. But it all has got to culminate in them getting in the car and taking it for a drive. So, I mean, that's really the, once you qualified them and you know what you're going to put them in, now it's your turn to sell the crap out of the car that you want to sell them. I mean, and that's the bottom line.
You have to build value. Price is only relevant with the absence of value. Price is only relevant with the absence. I wonder where I heard that from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
22 years later, I still remember the lesson. So how do you build value in your product presentation, features, and benefits? Do you have any tips? Like obviously there's the butterfly method, there's this method. Forget about that. What's the most important thing that you want to give advice-wise when you're doing a product presentation?
You got to have complete control, and you got to have their attention. I mean, I could talk about tires, and the funny thing is what I'll do to show control is let's say I'm training, and I might have probably did it with you years ago, but I say this car has all-weather tires. You don't have to worry about the winter, the summer, the snow tire. You don't have to worry about any of it. Going to get you 40, 50,000 miles before you got to change them. What I want you to do here, get down. I want you to feel the tread on this tire. And now you got a grown man or grown woman squeezing the tire like it's a loaf of Charmin. You know what I mean? So you just have to have control, and you got to have them paying attention to everything you're saying. And I've been saying, trust me when I tell you, I've been saying the same things about the same cars for a long, long time. So,
it's so funny because I do remember that. And I don't believe a lot of people do have the product presentation interactive. You know what I mean? Like they might be pointing and speaking, and if the prospect is disengaged or checking their phone, then how can you really build value? That's a very, very good point.
And not only do you have to have the buyer engaged, you got to have whoever the buyer is with, whether it's the wife, the kids, the grandmother, the grandfather, it doesn't matter. They all have to be equally as engaged. So you give them a show. That's all you do. You make it fun. Look, doing walkarounds with people, I enjoy it. That's the selling part. So, you could throw numbers around to someone all day, but to get out there.
Give us some of your trade craft. So I like what you just said. You get down, you have them squeeze the tires, what have you. Is there any other, Charlie Kearnisms that you have for a better or interactive walk around?
Well, what I do when I do a walk around, I start at the rear view mirror of the driver's side. And so what I'll actually do is take you all around. But what I'll do to make sure that I'm going to get the demo right in is open up the door, tell them to get in, close the door. Now, I know that if one of my salesmen comes to me and told me they couldn't get a test drive done, I know they asked. You don't ask. You open the door, get in. People do what they're told. That's why grown men and grown women are squeezing tires, because I told them to do it. People do what they're told. So you open up the door, get in, set the seat where you'd like to so you're comfortable driving. See that push button right there? Put your foot on the brake. Push the button. I'll see you when you get back.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. That's 99% effective too. And I've been doing that a long time.
Okay, which goes into the next question is the demonstration drive, I think, is incredibly important. There's different schools of thought. Some people say that you absolutely should be on the test drive so you could trial close them and you could see what they're seeing here, what they're saying, and what the conversations back and forth. And some people think you could just put them in the car, let them go. What's your thought?
I think that kind of depends. Right now, obviously, with the virus, I mean, you can't go with them. But that being said, let's eliminate the virus for a minute. I think it depends on a situational basis. I mean, if you got a guy, his wife, and 3 kids, I'm not going. On new cars, I'd be less apt to go than a used car, because on a used car, I mean, if I hear a shake, a rattle, or a roll, or something like that, you can explain it and be done with it. So when they get back, they're like, nah, I don't want this one on account of I heard funny noises. So with pre-owned cars, I would be more apt to go on the test drive than with a new car. And again, it's situational. I mean, if there's, 5 people in the car, then, I'm not going.
No, understood. Charlie, let's do this. We have to turn around and pay some bills. So we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
Yo, Kearns, you are killing them right now with the details. So we got through the qualification, vehicle selection, features and benefits presentation, the demonstration drive. Okay, now let's get into this. Okay, so they come back. What are you saying to them when they come back from the test drive? Are you trial closing them there? What's the conversation look like?
Well, here's the $1 million question. Let me ask you this, Sean, just so I know. I mean, if I could make this work, you'd be a buyer for the car today? As I'm shaking my head.
Okay, slow down because this is audio. Say that again.
Sean, let me ask you this. If I could make everything work, you're ready to drive the car home today? As I'm shaking my head.
Okay, and they're getting to say yes or no. And if I said, I don't know, Charlie, I need to think about it.
Okay. In thinking, what would be the determining factor, just so I know?
I just, it's a lot of money.
Okay. So. But if I could make it work, we're good, yes?
You know what? I need to ask my wife because she's got to make sure it's right for her too.
Okay. Let's call her.
She's at work right now and she's, I can't really disturb her at work.
Okay. So where does she work? Locally?
Yeah, she works locally.
Great. What I'm going to do is this. Come on outside with me. I want to show you something. Boom. Here's a plate. Boom. Go show your wife.
Okay. So what I got.
But I'm not going to ask you, do you want to go show it to your wife? I'm going to say, come on outside with me. I want to show you something. I'm going to open up the door again, say, get in.
So Charlie, what I get out of this as a trainer is that one, you're prepared, because it's not like I didn't just throw something at you and you're like, oh my God, what should I do now? I mean, like you already are anticipating what can this prospect say, and you've got a contingency of what you're going to do or what you're going to say. So this sounds to me like you're prepared. I don't think enough automotive professionals are truly prepared for different scenarios. I think they just react to shit that happens versus being strategically prepared. Would you agree with that or no?
I would say you're right, but yeah, it all depends on the skill level of the salesperson. There's a lot of people in the car business, and a lot of people that have been in it a long time, and a lot of people that have been in it a long time still don't get it.
Yes, that's my point.
So, so here's what I do. I got a couple of guys, when they come back from the test drive, I go right in their deal. There's no sense of letting them, the only people that can mess it up is us. And I know I ain't going to mess it up. And I sure as heck ain't going to let them mess it up. So, I mean, that's the long and the short of it. So when you early manager intervention with, I'm sorry?
So if I'm your salesperson, perfect. So if I work for you at Windsor Nissan.
As you did.
Huh? I was your salesperson. Yes. Not at Windsor, but I did work for you. Yeah. But so let's say we go back in time and I just came back. Let's say the prospect's name is April. April, I just got off the test drive. April. I bring April to my desk. Do you just show up? That's like, you're just going to come right in, or you're already there waiting for us?
No, you're going to come to the desk. And the only question I need you to ask, if we can make this work. And you'd notice, I'm not going to say if I could make the numbers. I don't want them thinking, if I could make this work, you drive it home today. So I'm not saying anything about the prices, anything about the numbers, anything about anything other than, do you like it well enough to take it home? And that's the $1 million question. So, but yeah, I would after you tell me a yes on that, then I go in. Now, if you told me no, then the car has to be resold. And I'll be honest with you, since 1982, I keep a copy of Consumer Reports on my desk. And let's say you're looking at a Jeep product. Now, I know Jeep products don't bode well in Consumer Reports. So if it's a Jeep and a Rogue, I'm going to show you what a hunk of junk a Jeep is, or, I know somebody who had a Maserati.
Yeah, me.
The Italian cars like Fiats and things like that, they're not really, they don't hold up well either. So, you just got to sell them on the car. So that's really the important part, selling them on the car.
So when the salesperson comes back and they check in with the desk, do you want to know if is the prospect committed to taking the car home if we can make this work?
Yes.
And if the salesperson says yes, then you go and we'll hold that for a second. But if the salesperson says no, then then you got to find out what is it. And let's talk about this. A lot of times there's surface objections. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I need to think about it. No, then you handled it perfectly. I usually say, I learned from you back in the days, what exactly are you thinking about? You know what I mean? It's the same thing you said, just a different way of saying it, is that if somebody says to me, look, I need to think about it. Okay, not a problem. I totally appreciate that. Just so I know, what is it that you're actually thinking about? That's where you get to uncover the real thing, where it might be, well, the price or the term, or it might not be the car itself. What advice do you have for people that are struggling uncovering what the true objection is? They're stuck on the surface one. I'm just thinking, I'm just looking, I don't know. Those aren't real things. Those are just surface things. How do you get to the root?
Well, I mean, that really comes from experience, and having been doing this every day for a really long time. I mean, I can get to the root of, in a negotiation, it's two things. It's money down and monthly payment. That I know. If the money down and the monthly payment's right, then there's a problem. Either they're not sold on a car, it's not the color they wanted, it's not, maybe they wanted a moonroof. This one doesn't have the heated seats, so it's something silly. It's something silly that you need to uncover, so you don't make someone at the other dealership down the block happy by, let them out like that. So that's really the bottom line. It's usually something so silly. My guys will come, this guy said he ain't buying nothing today, and he's still got to look at 5 different things. And I go in, let me ask you something. With $5,000 down, if your payment's $350, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Because they didn't even, so. And sometimes it's really simple.
When I go in on deals too, what I get a kick out of is how they look at you like you're a magician.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so do you get that a lot? I'm sure you still do, that your salespeople look at you like, how did you do that?
So quickly though, too. It's insane, but it all comes down to, if you don't ask, you don't get. So, and a lot of people are afraid to ask for the car deal because they don't want to hear that no. But no doesn't always mean no. No sometimes means maybe, and maybe sometimes means yes. So,
but not in the Bill Cosby way. We're talking about in the car deal way.
Exactly right.
Okay. So, man, Charlie, this is awesome stuff. So I'm going to transition a little bit here. What would you say, especially because you're in the field, like you're in the ish every day. What would you say the most common objections in 2021 going into 2022 that you hear from your salespeople, or when you go in on TOs? What's the first round of majority of these objections?
Usually all the decision makers aren't here, but you got to understand one thing right now. People aren't going to 3, 4, 5 dealerships anymore. And,
right.
That's a good thing. But a lot of people now, think they rediscovered the Holy Grail, and really what it is just a sign of the times, because again, people aren't going everywhere. So, I mean, we're close. If I would tell you the closing percentage that we have today, but this was 2 years ago, you'd call me A, a liar, or B, nobody's counting the ups. But right now, the closing percentages are ridiculous. I mean, for a point this month, I was at 65%, and look,
strong.
I'm sure there are a lot of dealers at or about that, and it's just a sign of the times. But I've been doing this long enough to know that things are cyclical. So what's working now doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work, 6, 8 months from now.
Right.
So, and everybody's beating their chests. Look, I got, we're averaging $4,000, we're averaging $5,000, and they probably are, but it's a sign of the times. That doesn't make you any better as a salesperson. It just means you're taking advantage of the situation that you have in front of you. So I think there's going to be a lot, as soon as this is over, and who knows, I hope it never ends, but I'm been doing this long enough to know that it will, a lot of people are going to, have boo-boo eyes.
So let's go into that right now. There's obviously a chip shortage. There's an inventory crisis. This is like opposite world where used cars are just as expensive,
Crazy.
if not more expensive than new
Crazy.
cars, and you can't
Crazy.
get new cars.
Crazy.
So are you at?
We had at our Kia dealership, we had a Telluride go on ACV auction, and it did $4,000 over the original list price of the car.
Used.
We're selling cars now on ACV. Like, I have them advertised on my website cheaper than I'm selling them online. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So, do you guys have a vehicle buying center? Are you guys buying from the public? Because
well, we're not hooked up with KBB, but we just did a mailer as far as we need your. Yeah, we'll absolutely buy the car. Sure.
No, let me explain. I have a client of mine. I need to hook you up. His name is Danny Zalowski. Danny is the dealer principal of a dealer group called Country Hill Motors in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. He buys, Charlie, you know me, like I don't be promoting people like that. This guy buys 120 cars from the public. He doesn't go to auctions. He doesn't spend any money on auction fees, transportation fees. He net lifted his gross $1,200 a copy on the front because he's buying them right directly from the public. And he estimates another $500 per copy on the front that he gets from saving on the auction fees and transportation fees. So he's $1,700, up on the front end of all these cars. Plus, he's buying them. Like a lot of dealers right now are having an inventory crisis where there's a shortage of inventory. He's not in the same situation because he's buying directly from the public. So he's not using KBB, instant cash offer by itself. He's his own vehicle buying center. So if you go to selltocountryhill.com, he's got this whole marketing advertising funnel that he basically advertises on radio, TV, social media, Facebook, all that will buy your car, kind of like how CarMax does. Yeah. And he has a tremendous business, and it's even more amplified because of the times that are here. So I was just curious, are you buying a lot of cars from the public, or?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Don't be the last one with your hand up at the auction. VinQ Vehicle Buying Center gives dealers the digital and in-store tools you need to buy direct from the public. On average, inventory bought from the public grosses $1,200 higher on the front end alone. VinQ turns buying cars direct from the public into a business. The most profitable dealerships in the country are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in additional front end gross. Private party acquisition starts with VinQ. See it at VinQ.com.
Not as many as we should. And yeah, I'd like to talk to your boy and, pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah, matter of fact, I don't know if you plan on going to Digital Dealer. I don't, but I'm actually doing a double session with him on vehicle acquisitions and vehicle buying centers. I get you free, pass if you want to go. It's June 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Where's that?
Tampa, baby, Florida. So I know Mr. Sansone might want to go. Tell Paul Jr. he should check it out. But no, after the interview, I'll give you Danny's information.
Great, yeah.
So how are you handling the crisis then? Are you guys flush with inventory, new, used, or you like everybody else?
Well, we're kind of like everybody else. I mean, I got 80 retail ready used, and I'm down to about 60 new cars. And the problem is, yeah, well, we do 60, 65 months, so we're down to 60. And we only have 17 coming in June and another 18 coming in July.
So what's the plan?
I'm sorry?
What's the plan?
Sell used cars.
Yeah. So again, but here's the thing is, when you're getting them from the auctions or from off lease opportunities, program cars, etc., the challenge is the people that win at the auctions pay literally the most.
Well, absolutely. But the good part about it is we can pull from our other dealers. And they do a lot more volume. So they're trading about 45, 50 cars a month. The Kia inventory isn't as bad as the Nissan inventory. So we have a Kia store and, again, they're taking in a lot of trade. So we can pull from them.
Yo, listen, Kalina, let's get into her. So Kalina is selling Kias and Subarus. So she's crushing it on the spin money from Subaru.
Oh, yeah.
But she's also
Kia. I thought Kia had cars.
No, but that's what I was going to say. But like you just said, she's selling 10, 12 G's over list on these Tellurides.
Oh, they're crazy.
So she's in heaven. And Charlie, it's crazy because, as a parent, she and Tiana both didn't want to have anything to do with the car industry or dealer synergy. After almost 3 years in the front lines, my older daughter, Tiana, now works for Dealer Synergy since September. She's crushing it. She's now selling dealers 6-figure contracts and stuff like that. So T got your keys. But Kalina is probably about 4 months in now, about 3 months on the floor. And she's just murdering it. And I remember her like on 9/11, that day that her mom brought her, in the little hand basket or whatever. And that little girl is now selling cars in New Jersey, averaging over 20 units a month. It's just it's so cool. A proud dad moment,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I'm teaching her the Charlie-isms, you know what I mean? Again, it's like, she got a kick out of Charlie. I told her the story. My favorite line still when I go, "I seem like a sharp guy," right? Do you use that one still?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Do you use that still?
Oh, absolutely.
Do they look at you like, what did you just say?
Up to this point, you've shown every indication to be an intelligent human being. But let me say something. If you pass on this, I got that from Walter Earl.
Walter Early. Say that again.
Walter Earl.
No, the word track.
You look like a sharp guy to me. You look like a sharp guy to me, but I'll tell you what, you pass on this deal.
You know what? It's funny. This is, I don't know if I shared this one with you. I think I did, but Jim Ziegler told me this one, which I love and I used, and it's hysterical. It's just, you have the personality for this. A lot of people couldn't pull this off. But if you open somebody up, right, on the first pencil and you got to peel them off the ceiling and they turn around and they get animated like, "What do you think? I'm stupid? You think I'm crazy?" And then you look them dead in the face and say, "Absolutely not. However, if you were, I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity." So Charlie,
I'm putting that in my repertoire now.
Yeah, I can't believe I never shared that with you. Yes, that's definitely one that you could pull off and have a diet. Oh my God. And so, what, that's the other thing is that there's certain things that certain people, it's about the delivery. It's about the presentation, because if you got the wrong personality, that would not fly at all. Oh my God.
Oh, I can't wait to use that one. I'm going to be counting the minutes.
All right, Charlie. So we're going to go to one more break and we have one more segment. So again, let's pay some bills. Listen, matter of fact, this is a shout out to AutoWeb, one of our sponsors, the #1 lead source provider out there. Charlie, can you believe that AutoWeb, 100 million Americans have purchased their vehicle through AutoWeb. 100 million cars have been sold through AutoWeb's website. Isn't that crazy?
That's incredible.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. It's called a read on. Okay, 3, 2. And we're back with Charlie Kearns. Okay, so Charlie, what advice do you have first? I want to go through 3 levels here. Okay, so for a salesperson, like my daughter, matter of fact, you could even speak to Kalina because I'm going to make her listen to this. So if you're going to speak to Kalina, just say, Kalina, I heard, your dad said you just got into the industry. Give her some advice.
Kalina, you just got into business. A couple of things. Number 1, know your product. Number 2, don't be afraid to be yourself when you're doing your walk arounds, doing your presentations, giving the numbers. You just hit an interesting point. When I used to hit somebody when I was a kid on the floor, if they did the first move they made wasn't to get up and run out like they just got lit up on fire, I didn't hit them high enough. So don't be afraid of a pencil. Pencil's your friend. Pencil's where you're going to make your money, and that you got to learn it, you got to live it, and you got to love it. So, obviously I've been doing this a long time. I love it. I can't see myself doing anything else. Obviously at this point in life, I'm not going to go back to college and be anything other than what I am. But, the car business has been good to me. It's been good to you, and I'm sure it's going to be good to you, Kalina. So keep on going.
I appreciate it. You just mentioned something. It's been good to you. I remember when I left Charlie Hill Nissan, this is in 2003, when I started Dealer Synergy, I was legitimately making over $156,000, as a BDC director. And for a young, arrogant kid, coming from my background, Charles, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Can you share, like how much money there is in the automotive industry if you're good? I'm not saying you're average, but if you're good on the floor, what can a real good sales professional earn?
If you're good, there's no reason, especially in this climate, you can't make between $150,000 and $200,000 just by selling cars.
Amen.
I never went to college, and I've been fortunate. People, for the most part, like me. So that's my claim to fame. I always say, if boy is charm and devil may care, attitude can't handle the problem, I'm not your guy. So, that's a long story short.
What's crazy, and to your point, is that my nephew Dylan just made 12 grand. You do that every month. You're at $155,000 a year right there. So you can make stupid wood on the sales floor. Now, a sales manager, GSM and GM, if a salesperson could earn a deuce, then a sales manager, a really good sales manager with a good sales team, or a GSM, you're doing $300,000-$400,000 easy. Is that about right?
Not at this store, but I have.
But you've earned that type of wood before.
Yeah.
And so, but my whole point is, for somebody like you just said that doesn't have a college degree, what other industry without having a gun and a mask can you turn and bring in, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, legally?
No, I don't know of any business that you could come in literally and after even in your first month make a 5-figure income per month, and it's crazy. It doesn't take a lot. You just got to be likable and try. That's it. And now, all you have to be able to do is take direction. Most desk guys, they'll load your lips. You just got to be able to say it, and that's the bottom line. I don't think there's any business right now that anybody could make the type of money that they're making now without any formal training, college education, any of that. And we're lucky that we found it.
Hell yeah, I'm lucky for sure. I found it and I found you.
Yeah.
So Charlie, let's transition this to sales managers that are listening, because I've been asking on purpose. I'm trying to build up, but I think that there's a lot of mediocrity in sales managers, and you still have like the person that wants to sit at the tower and just just pencil deals. In 39 years, the car industry's evolved. What do you feel the role of not a GSM, but a sales manager should be today in 2022, 21 going into 2022, this new way that we do business? What should be the job description and the responsibilities of a real sales manager, a good one?
They got to be able to. They got to be able to coach. They got to be able to when they see a salesman floundering, whether it's on the walk around or the demo drive or in a pencil, they got to be involved in a deal early. That's really the bottom line. You can't leave a guy floundering, because what's going to happen is the people are going to lose interest. And next thing you know, they got an appointment, they got to go. They're looking at their watch. So you got to be able to jump in and help immediately. You got to be able to coach. You got to know what to coach and know who to coach, and just stay active on the floor. Make sure people are making their phone calls, showing them how to make phone calls. Make sure people are doing their walk around, showing them how to do the walk around. So, those are basic things that they should be doing constantly.
Okay, what would you say the most common mistakes of sales managers are?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
At the very first Dealer eProcess keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Vukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
Waiting too long to get into a deal.
Ooh.
That's the killer. Waiting too long to get into a deal. And I'll be honest with you, I have a sales manager here who does a great job. But the type of desk guy I am, I want to be in every deal. I TO just about every deal here because, I'm pretty good at it, and it comes easy for me. So whether you're on the desk, whether you're a sales manager, whatever your position is, everybody's on the same team, and it's all about the teamwork.
All right, and we're winding down here, Charlie, because I know that it's the end of the month and you're doing this interview, and I appreciate that. But one thing that's still it's crazy with you, because you're just New Jersey and there's a whole big country out there, and still there's things that you do that I don't see dealers doing across the United States. One thing I learned from you, thank God, early in my career is aftermarket. How much money, Charlie? We used to take triple net deals on Grand Marquis, but make 5-6 G's on the chrome, rockers and the vinyl tops. I would have never learned the value of aftermarket and how much gross potential if it wasn't for Charlie Kearns. So can you just talk about how lucrative, aftermarket could be if you do it the right way? Well,
a lot of people don't even set up for aftermarket. Now, we do a pretty good job here selling tire and rim and maintenance and things like that. But you could even take it a step further, because right now those black roofs seem to be real popular. So we're adding those to some of the automobiles. The black rims, I got a guy for $150 puts tape on them. It looks like brand new. It's unbelievable. And that's a big profit center. So there's so many things you could do to increase. And especially now with the fact that the inventory is going to be real tight, you got to maximize on every deal. Deals that we were taking 3 months ago are deals we're passing on now. So, it's just a different time, and you got to look at every avenue to basically bleed every nickel you can, because, cars are going to be light, and it's not just here, it's everywhere.
So yeah, that's a big learning point too, especially with this whole inventory crisis. You need to maximize. I got to plug you in. I have a GSM, a friend of mine, his name's Roy Davila. He's the GSM of Mike Shaw Kia in Texas. And he got recruited out of Lithia, and the guy's a beast. He's doing like 6 G's a copy out there on the vehicles, but he has addendums, Charles. And this is a Charlie Kern thing. I'm surprised you didn't think of this. It's basically a convenience charge. He's charging $1,250 convenience charge, and he's disclosing it like it's right there, so it's legally compliant. And what he's doing is he's created a process where it's an expedited delivery process, and it gets some other value, but pretty much it's like you said, it's being able to provide an additional service and getting all the money for it. You know what I mean? And so dealers have to be creative going into the current climate and going into 2022, the way that we are with the inventory situation, is that you need to be able to maximize opportunity. And if you do not have an aftermarket strategy, you're leaving money on the table. That's the long and the short of it. Would you agree?
Yeah. And you want to know something funny? You said convenience fee, because we've had addendums, but now we have an additional markup. Yesterday, I'm like, I should have said convenience fee. You know how like they bang you out for the $10? Conveniently,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah, I love that one.
So
redo it.
I'm gonna hook you up with Danny Zalowski, and I'm gonna hook you up with my guy Roy Davila, and so I'm watching across the country just the power moves that people are making. And for me, the vehicle buying center, that's a huge thing, because the inventory, and then just different ways creatively to to increase gross. And so speaking of that, what would you say, because I want to just get a couple more tips from you as we leave. What's been where you're at currently or in the past? What are things that you've done that's made you as a manager for the company the most amount of money? Because what I'm trying to get is, I want our listeners to listen to this and be like, yo, that's a crazy nugget, you know what I mean, from Charlie Kearns. So what do you do to make money? You know what I mean? That's been successful. Is it a strategy? Is it a process? Is it a vendor? Is it a technology? Is it a hack? What do you do that makes the most money?
I'll be honest with you. A, you got to start high, and B, you got to go into the deal early. I mean, some guys will grind out a pencil and some guys won't. And, I just like going into the deal from Jump Street to make sure we hold the gross. And that's really the bottom line. I like getting into a deal early, rolling up my sleeves, getting the commitment and being done with it. So there's no sense of stretching it out. These people want to buy a car and leave. So I'm here to help them.
Tell us about your salespeople. Do you have anybody that's lighting it up like me and Carter used to do back in the day?
Yeah, I got two guys here. I got one guy with almost 70 grand. Well, if you add packs back in, he's probably almost 100 grand in gross right now.
Oof.
Yeah. No, the guy's a beast.
Listen, have you heard of a guy named Cody Carter?
No.
Cody's a friend of mine. He's just signed up he's a partner of ours in Bradley Demand. He works at Tustin Toyota. Charlie, you ready? This is verified. He's the number 1 Toyota truck salesperson in the world, the number 2 Toyota truck person in the world. You ready for this, Charles? In March, he sold 154 cars on the showroom floor. On April, he sold 124. And as of yesterday, he's at about, I think, either 99 or 101. So in 90 days, this guy sold almost 400 cars in 90 days. And he's made close to $250,000 in personal income. He's got close to about $1 million in gross in 90 days. So wow. He actually beat Ali Retta, who broke the Guinness Book of World Records, but he averages probably about 120, 125 units a month, but with a high of 154.
Nice.
So
that's a month.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I want to get your opinion on, and I don't think I've ever talked to you about this, is that when I work for you and I did 33 cars and I averaged about 30 cars, and Carter was about 30 cars, the most that I ever thought that was possible was 30. That to me was like the king shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the king of the world at 30. And to a lot of people, a 30 car professional is a lot, even though we hear little bits in here of a 40 car person, but you don't normally hear of a 100 car person. And I've interviewed 4 people that sold 100 cars a month. I interviewed Ali Retta, Frank Crinity, Cody Carter, and Damien Bourgeois. Like legitimately 4 people. And those are like 4 unicorns. And all 4 of them, Charles, said the same thing to me, which I wish I thought of back then, or, I wish I shared with you my clients before the last couple of years, is that the second that you take those safeties off, it becomes possible. And I didn't understand what that meant. And I said, because everybody asked him, how do you sell 100 cars? He said, well, first, they did 30, 40 cars a month. And then when they actually believed that it was possible that they could get to 60 cars, like that was actually possible, and built, reverse engineered a process and a projecting forecasting to build into it. And it happened. Well, okay, if I'm doing 60, then I should be able to do 80. See, he's saying that if you don't ever think that you have a shot of selling 50 cars, you're not going to accidentally, if you do projection forecasting with your people as a manager, right? If all your people are forecasting 15 cars, 18 cars, 20 cars, 25 cars, none of them are going to accidentally fall into 50 cars that month if the most that they projected for is 25. And it's not being delusional, but it's about, shooting for the stars and landing on the moon. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think
that's phenomenal? Hey, 140, 150, 80 or 90. I did 42 one month at Gateway Toyota, and I thought, I was the man. But,
me too. You know what that is, Charles? That's like those rappers that thought a Chrysler 300 was a Phantom until a real Phantom pulls up. It's like you know what I mean? Like shit looks good until it's funny. It's like, yeah, I'm a 40 car guy on top of the world. Oh, that's cute, boo boo. I did 154. Yeah. But here's the thing though, and Charlie, it's the paradigm. You know how Ali Reddit does it? He's got 4 offices. Okay. Think of a dental office, bro. He's got 4 offices. And then he's got 2 assistants, okay? And so he's rotating all day long through 4 different desks, 4 different things. And he does his own F&I. It's almost like when I worked at Ray Katina for that hot minute, you know what I mean? When you do Highline, sometimes they don't have an F&I manager. The salesperson does F&I. So they're not doing test drives because it's not transactional selling. It's all relationship selling. At their level, it's 1000% repeat business and referrals only. They're not taking any kind of ups. They're not doing any kind of follow-up. These are just their repeat business and their referrals because they've been at their places. Like, Cody's been there 9 years and, Ali's been there over 20 years. You know what I'm saying? But it's not just the mindset, but they also create the model. What I also learned is that there's no way in hell that a 75, 80, 100 car, 150 car person could sell cars the same way that a regular person sells cars at the regular road to the sale. It's just mathematically impossible. So you've got to change the model, which is what I love what you said before in the interview, is the way that you're doing business, Charles, now is not the way it's always going to be. There's that car guide book. It's like 20 pages. Who moved my cheese? What we've got to do is figure out how to be the disruptor. So I challenge you, Mr. Kearns, as my friend, is that, no, seriously, like on a friend level, you've been doing this so long at a higher level than some of these CEOs of these billion-dollar companies that I work with, truthfully. You got to think about how you can be the disruptor. How could you be Blockbuster? How could you not be Blockbuster? How could you be Netflix versus Blockbuster? How could you be Uber versus the yellow cab? How could you be Airbnb and figure out how you could get your salespeople, these studs that you've got? You said, how can they get not just 5 cars, 10 cars? How could you get them 30 cars more a month? How could you get them 40 cars a month? And try to figure that shit out. I'd love to brainstorm that with you one day.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
For dinner on you.
Listen to me. My pleasure. You pick the place.
All right. You got it.
So we're going to wind down here. What would you like to leave the audience with? We're like 30 seconds out. So just I don't want to just close abruptly. I know you got to close deals and close your month, but this is a big thing. We have 150,000+ downloads. This will be listened to.
Right. So here's the bottom line. If this is what you love to do, just keep doing it. We're in a good time right now. And I'll be honest with you. I've been doing this for a long time. It's never been this good. Enjoy this wave. Enjoy it. Hopefully it lasts forever. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But right now, you got to live in the now, and you got to take advantage of every opportunity you're given. And that's really the bottom line.
Well, Troy, listen, I appreciate you taking the time at the end of the month. I know you got to close deals for your store. Listen, close out your month strong, brother. I appreciate you, and dinner's on me next time. All right?
All right, you got it, my friend.
Take care.
Hi, Sean.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by Dealer E-Process, VinQ, and AutoWeb, and Car Now. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.